the recording and put on the first slide, please. Thank you, Jeff. So good evening, everybody. Today, the purpose of today's presentation is to give a general overview. If you have questions, overview of the kindergarten program. If you have specific questions that relate directly to your child, please just contact us directly with those specific questions. For the presentation, please mute your microphones and please turn off your cameras. We will be recording this event so that parents that were unable to attend can watch later, and we'll post it on our webpage. Or if you would like to watch it later after our presentation tonight, you're of course welcome to do so. We'll begin. Before we begin our presentation this evening, tonight, we would like to acknowledge the land that we currently are on, Treaty 7 land. This is one of our kindergarten classes doing acknowledgement of the land. Jeff, I don't hear the sound.
Okay, sorry, Todd. I'll redo that.
Thanks, Jeff.
Acknowledge our Treaty 7 class, where the backfoot means take elbows bent. Sinking on the beaver come, when they stop, look to the relative hand. Maximize taking people from region 3, together we're all trees.
Thank you, Jeff. And welcome to this evening's presentation, our kindergarten orientation for 2022 to 2023 school year, which starts next September. So welcome, everybody. Just thank you for turning off your microphones and your cameras. You will have an opportunity to ask questions partway through the presentation and then again at the end. So save those questions. And if you have any questions while we're presenting, please just feel free to type them into the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat as well. Before we begin, I'd like to do some introductions. First of all, I'd like to introduce our kindergarten teachers. One of our teachers is our learning leader as well, is Raylene Steckley. So welcome, Raylene. Would also like to introduce Jeannie Waltz, another kindergarten teacher at Ken Taylor School. Thank you, Jeannie. Also would like to welcome or introduce Jane Stupak, another one of our kindergarten teachers as well. Hi, Jane, thank you. Also would like to introduce our admin secretary, Barb Araka. Hi, Barb. Thanks, Barb. And also we have a guest, Leanne Rees, who's here today, one of our school council members. So welcome, Leanne. She'll be speaking later. And also I'd like to introduce is Jeff Belcher, our assistant principal. Jeff is doing all the tech behind the scenes, so we probably won't hear from him very much, but thanks, Jeff. And then, of course, myself. My name is Todd Font, and I'm the principal of Ken Taylor School. I'd like to welcome all of you tonight to our presentation. We'll get started. So the Calgary Board of Education the early years are times of significant development in a child's life. Personalized attention is extremely important and beneficial to early learners. At the Calgary Board of Education, we understand that children bring their own unique talents and gifts to their learning experience. Our dedicated staff know how to help children reach their full potential. Our vision at Ken Taylor School is that all students will be successful learners in a community that values meaningful learning experiences and caring relationships. So we're really excited that you've chosen Ken Taylor School, and just give you some now information about what the school year will look like next year and what we're planning for. So first of all, we're going to have 115 students next year in kindergarten. They'll be placed in one of 5 classes. We'll have 3 a.m. classes, morning classes, and 2 afternoon classes. Our bell times and dismissals. On Monday to Thursday in the morning, we have what we call early entry time when we open the doors at 7:45 in the morning. Classes actually officially start at 8 o'clock, so we allow children in the morning about 15 minutes to come in, and then we dismiss them at 10:55 in the morning. In the afternoon class, which actually starts in the morning, it starts at 11:35, and we dismiss at 2:30 for the afternoon students. The afternoon students generally parents wait with them outside, and we open up the doors just shortly before 11:35, and they come in, and then we get the day started. On Fridays, we have we alternate. On Fridays, morning kids will come one week, afternoon students come the next week, and we start at 7:45 on Friday. That's the early entry time. Classes start at 8, and then dismissal at noon, which is in line with the rest of the school. Alternating Fridays. Barb, you want to talk about alternating Fridays?
Good evening, everybody. You will be receiving a calendar via email, and then once again in September as a paper copy from your demographic package. In it, there'll be a full year calendar on one page, and you will see each month that looks like this. Anything that is highlighted in the light blue shade applies only to kindergarten. So this last column with the K on the top shows you which program will be coming that Friday. So for example, on May 6th, it is our AM kindergartens who attend on Friday. And on May 13th, it's our PM kindergartens who change. Oftentimes you'll see a blank spot like you do next to May 20th. This is because we don't have school that Friday, and so there will be no kindergarten students attending. We try to, it balances out every month in terms of AM and PM. And at the end of the year, if there is one month where we have more AMs than PMs, by the end of the year, they will all have evened themselves out. You will notice that it is laid out for the entire year. It should not change, but if you have any questions at all, please feel free to call the office. This information is also sent out weekly in our Week at a Glance. So every Friday, you'll receive an email from the office, and in there, it'll show you what next week is going to look like and who will be attending kindergarten the following week. We also have this information detailed on our website, which will be a huge resource for you. There is a live calendar there. It is updated on a weekly basis, and it will always state on that calendar who attends on the Friday as well. This is our main office buzzer. It is a little bit confusing for our new families. We keep all of our doors locked in the school. They are only open in the morning from 7:45 until 8 a.m. for students to enter for early entrance. After that, all the doors become locked, and in order to access the office, you will have to push the main office buzzer. It is located on the right-hand side of the door. You'll push that button and then you'll chat with us in the office and we'll let you in. It is important to note that the buzzer is quite high. So if you are sending your students in, oftentimes morning or you're running behind schedule,
Sorry, Barb, I think you got muted by mistake there. You wouldn't mind just repeating about this, the height of the buzzer, please? Sorry,
I
Barb.
apologize. That's okay. So the buzzer is quite high on the wall. And if ever you're running behind schedule or you have an appointment during the day and you're not there while our doors are unlocked, it's important for you to accommodate your child to the front door, as 9 times out of 10, our little people are not able to reach the buzzer. So they won't be able to get in. And if we don't see them standing outside, they won't be able to get into the school. So please accommodate your children to the door in order to push the buzzer for them.
Thanks, Barb. I'll talk about staggered entry. So in kindergarten, when we start the year, we use the first couple of days of kindergarten to only have half the children attend. So if you look at the calendar we have for September 2022, group 1, which we will tell you which group you're in, we will send that out to you prior to the beginning of the school year. Group 1 will attend on the Thursday, September the 1st. The Friday is a non-school day for kindergarten. And then on the Tuesday after the Labor Day weekend, the second group will attend. And then on the 6th. And then on the Wednesday, the 7th, all students will attend. We do a staggered entry just to ease the transition for our students. So, you know, the teachers will get to know the students a lot quicker because there's only half of them there that first day. And then the second day, the other half. And then the third day, we have them all there. And then you'll see on September the 9th, that's the first morning group. That's the first Friday, and that morning group will attend that one. And then the next Friday, the afternoon group groups will attend. Just so you know, there are 13 Fridays for each morning and each afternoon classes. That's how the calendar works out. When we send you the calendar, you'll be able to see all of that. Hug and go. So if you're familiar with Ken Taylor's school, you'll know that it does get quite busy in the mornings in front of the school and actually down as well on Evanston View as well, which is a road that runs along the front of the school there. What you'll find is that if people, you know, park and wait, and walk their children in, that traffic will get congested very, very quickly. What we have at the front of the school is what we call the hug and go. And in the mornings, actually, Jeff Belcher, our assistant principal, is out there every morning standing there. I'm usually down on Evanston View, that part of the helping out with busing and doing some hug and go as well. But in front of our school, we would encourage parents to stop, let their children out on the sidewalk, and kindergarten students, they walk directly into the front doors. We've designated our front doors for kindergarten students, as that's the shortest distance. when the students enter the school, you know, hug and go, parents just drive away, and then the next parents pull up. If everybody kind of sticks to the 1 minute limit, it actually runs quite smoothly. So we do that. Now for the afternoon, it's not nearly as congested because it's only just afternoon kids that are coming, not the whole school. So parents can just park in front and then walk their kids up to the door and wait for the door to open, and we let the kids in. We do not do an early entry for the afternoon students. It's just the morning students. We do the early entry from 7:45 to 8 o'clock. Actually, one of the main reasons we do it is to ease the congestion of traffic around the school, as you know, we have K to grade 4 students entering at that time. So it just helps ease the congestion. So that's our hug and go. And if you also look at the map here, to assist with hug and go and drop off, to keep traffic flow moving, we ask that you kind of follow this map. So when you're pulling into Evanston Circle, that's kind of the right in the front door there, where the front doors are. If you'll come up and you'll see like a right-hand turn, which then will take you around the kind of a crescent, and then comes back out, and you'll see it comes back out and then comes in front of the school. If people follow that direction and just keep to the right and keep going all the way around, it actually allows traffic to flow much more freely. We get into traffic concerns or traffic jams or slowing of traffic when people kind of do a U-turn there and try to pull in front, or they try to navigate through in one of the alleyways and then pop out, etc. So one thing we encourage people to do is just to follow that traffic flow, and actually it does run a lot smoother. So just an FYI if you're planning on driving your children. Of course, if you live close enough to walk to school, I would also encourage that as well. It's probably a little less stressful than driving for sure. The hug and go you know, basically is just in front of the school there. If you can see that little purple line, that's where the hug and go is. And yes, we just drop children off is on that purple line there. And also down on Evanston View, there is another area where you can also drop off your children as well. The vast majority of kindergarten students use the first one we mentioned, which is on Evanston Circle. Evanston View, mostly our grade 1 to 4 families use that. If you have a child in kindergarten but also have an older child, they're both welcome to use the front doors. So the front doors are not, if you have a child that's say in grade 3 and your kindergarten child, they're both welcome to use the front doors. It's not exclusively for kindergarten kids, but we want the kindergarten kids to all use that door, but other kids can use it as well. And I think we're going to talk about our hand-to-hand policy, and I believe Jane Stupak will go over that for us.
Thank you, Todd. Hi, everyone. The hand-to-hand policy at Ken Taylor School helps us to ensure the safety of all our students. In September, we will be asking you to provide a list of people who have permission to pick up your child. Please contact the office if your list changes during the school year, as we're not able to release your child to anyone who is not on your list. At the end of the kindergarten day, your child's teacher will bring the students out the front door of the school to meet their designated pickup person. Students will line up with their teacher, and as they reach the front of the line, we will look for their pickup person together, give their teacher an elbow bump, and then walk to their person. Please ensure that you're standing close to your child's line. Wait for your child to be at the front of the line, and ensure your child's teacher sees you before you're leaving with your child. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Barb, if you could let us give us some information about MyCBE.
For the parents that currently have students with us at the CBE, this will be some repeat information for you. And for our new parents, I'll just explain the MyCBE account is what you will use. It will follow your child all the way from kindergarten to grade 12. This account is used to register for transportation. It's used to pay all of your fees. It's used for booking parent-teacher conferences, to view your report cards, to view your attendance, and it's an all-encompassing program. So you will be sent a letter by Canada Post. They left our school 2 days ago, so you should be receiving them shortly. It will have detailed instructions for you, as well as your child's CBE ID. This is what you will require to create the account. It's very important to note that you must use the same email address to register your account as you did on your application form. It will not allow you to create an account if the two email addresses don't match. Both parents are eligible to set up an account as long as both email addresses are listed on the child's demographics. As well, both parents are, if you're in a situation of a split family, both parents are able to see the fees and pay the fees as well. I think that's it. At the CBE, we send out emails weekly. We try not to send any paper information home, so it's very important that you check your emails coming from us. In order to receive emails from the CBE, you need to subscribe. This is something that was put into place by the government in order to monitor spam. So in order to receive emails from us, you need to go in and enter your email address. This is, again, a very simple process. You will go to the CBE on the CBE website. There is a link. You just click on the link and enter in your email address and hit submit. Once you've done this, you'll be able to receive all emails from us. You will receive emails that are general without subscribing. However, if there's an email that's related to anything commercial, for example, field trips or anything that requires payment of any sort, you will not receive them if you have not subscribed. School fees at the CBE are very minimal. The fee for kindergarten that is charged, you will see it automatically populate into your account. Please note this won't happen until the beginning of the school year next year. It's only $20 for kindergarten. This fee is used to provide you for all your school supplies, pencils, erasers, paper, anything like that. You will not be required to send your child with any school supplies. These fees will be paid through your MyCBE account. You can log in at any time to see them throughout the year. If there's a field trip coming up, you will receive communication from your teacher, and once all the communication has been sent, the fees will be uploaded to your MyCBE account, and you'll be able to pay them all there. We do not accept cash at the school. However, if you are not comfortable using the online payment process, you are welcome to come into the school and pay with credit cards or debit cards. Attendance line. So at the CBE, we have an attendance line, at Ken Taylor. We ask if your child is going to be late because of a medical appointment or for any sort of issue, or if you're going to be absent that day, we ask for you to call our main school number, dial 1, and you will get a recording for our attendance line. This is a 24-hour attendance line. You can call at any time, day or night. We ask that you leave your child's full name. If possible, please spell your child's last name, the child's teacher, and the reason for absence. If you do not call the school to excuse your child, we will call you just to confirm that they are home safe, and then leave you a voicemail if you don't answer. If you are available, we'll just simply update the child's attendance at that time.
Thank you, Barb. Jeff, if you could talk about Google Translate briefly.
Video's just loading, sorry.
I'd like to take this opportunity to highlight a feature on our website that some families may find helpful. If you prefer to consume and read information in a language other than English, then you have that option by translating it to the language of your choice by using our Google Translate feature at the top of our website. You can do this by clicking on this little arrow, and it provides a menu, and then you can choose any language you would like to read and consume the information in.
And as we get to know your child and your family, we will be asking that if your child has any medical information, such as diagnoses or severe allergies, if they've received program unit funding in previous settings, such as preschools, or if there are any assessments that would provide insight, if you could call the school's office and provide that information to us, that would help us as we plan the upcoming school year. We'll talk a little bit about later on assessment, and in the fall, all kindergarten teachers within the CB complete assessments to get to know the students quickly so we can support them. Teachers do have access to speech language pathologists, OTs, PTs, school family liaisons to consult. Speech language pathologists do work with students once the assessments are complete or if there is a diagnosis, but it's more of a consulting basis that they work with the teacher to support for programming, to support all the learners in the classroom and your child. One way you can get involved is volunteering, and we love parent help, and we are looking forward to getting to know you. It is a CBE specific police clearance that we do require. It is good for 5 years, and the process is that you bring your ID to the school's office, you fill out a form. It is a lengthy process. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks for sometimes to get cleared. But that can be done within the school's office, and then you complete the rest through the Calgary Police online or at the police station, and then you can come volunteer within the classroom, help out with parent council, and we'll hear from them shortly.
All right, so we're hoping to have a really good school year this year. Next year, being able to get back to doing more things like movie nights, maybe some family dances, a Christmas market. We will also be looking for more volunteers for field trips and fun lunches. We have a bunch of positions open for this next school year, so hopefully we can find some more volunteers to join us. This year we did a casino, and with the money we are building an outdoor classroom, which should be done this summer, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, that's us. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. And now, Jeannie, if you could talk about what your child needs.
Hi. So getting ready for September, and I'm so excited to meet the parents for next year, and I know the other kindergarten teachers, we are all very excited about that. And so a big question that parents have is, what does my child need? Some of the things that they will need is a pair of slip-on shoes, and I think maybe you can just flip the slide, Jeff, and we'll see some pictures. Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, you know what? We are going to be talking about that, from my understanding, a little bit further on. But what we will need, just so you know, that is a pair of slip-on shoes that your child can put on their own, and a large backpack. So just kind of think about what they're going to need to carry back and forth to school. A backpack that would be big enough for a snack, a water bottle. Most students bring a water bottle, a little snack bag, something that they could carry, you know, maybe some art that they did in class, or if they're taking home a library book. So something that would take that. They will be required to bring a pair of what we call indoor shoes. Those are shoes that stay at school, that are non-marking, and like a runner that they can use in the gym so they can get, you know, a lot of physical activity that way. We do ask that they are either Velcro or slip-on, that way that they can put them on independently. And we'll be talking further. We are going to take a 5-minute break right after this. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the curriculum when we return, but just that'll give you an opportunity that if you have any questions, that if something's come up so far, I know there's been a lot of listening, so it's nice to have that opportunity to think about the questions. You can put them in a chat. If you look up at the top, you can look and type in some of your questions there, and we'll reconvene in about 5 minutes time.
Yes, thank you, Jeannie. So we're going to just take a 5-minute break, just to take a break from the presentation. Please, if you have any questions, just please type them into the chat. We'll take a couple minutes here, then we'll respond to your questions, and then we'll go on to the second half of our presentation. Okay, I see that we're getting close to well, we've about 2 minutes left in the break. Thank you for writing your questions in. I'll maybe just start with a couple of the questions while we're just finishing up our break here. and then we'll continue on. One question was about volunteering. Barb wrote a response in the Barb wrote a response to volunteering in the school, but essentially, if you want to volunteer, you have to do a police clearance through the Calgary Board of Education. So just come into the office and we can set you up with that. One question about indoor shoes in addition to slip-ons. When we talk about slip-on shoes, we are also referring to the indoor running shoes at the same time. So we need one pair of indoor shoes that are the child can easily put on. So either Velcro or those elastic laces, and it's a shoe that they can run in and is non-marking. So you want something that's fairly sturdy, something that's very functional, not necessarily fashionable. School fees. The school fees of $20 is just paid once. It's only a one-time fee of $20. Somebody was asking if it was yearly or monthly. It's just one-time $20. But if we do field trips, the field trip fees are in addition to the $20, but you would be billed for those at the time of the field trip. Busing. Yeah, I can just go into busing now. Kindergarten busing is available one way. So if you come in the morning, some students come to the bus in the morning, but we do not have a midday bus. So if you choose to put your children on the bus in the morning, you'd still have to pick them up midday. Conversely, we also have the option of children going home on the bus as well, but you'd have to bring them midday. Most kindergarten families choose not to do busing, but it is available for one way, either in the morning or at the end of the day. But we do not have midday busing. PowerSchool Parent Portal. Good question. We do have access to the PowerSchool Parent Portal, especially for report cards. When report cards come out, you can use it at that time. That's how we actually communicate reporting is through the PowerSchool Portal. Right now in kindergarten, we do not have it set up for doing marks and things like that. Assessment in kindergarten is mostly formative assessments, some summative assessments, but those are not necessarily shared on the PowerSchool Portal. We use it mostly for report cards. Is there before and after school care on site for the kindergarten students? For before and after school care, because it's a half-day program, there is no after school care during school hours for there's not the space for them. We do have before and after school care, but it's not but at midday you'd have to come and pick up your child. So at the end of the day, there is after school care. If you're in the afternoon class, for example, you could access it, but we do not have it during the day. Is there an established drop-off and pickup procedure for nearby daycares who transport their kids to and from school? Yes, there is. We work with the daycare providers. They usually use the Hug and Go as well. Or they sometimes will also use the bus zone down below the hill. If they're using the bus zone, either the daycare provider or a staff member will make sure the kindergarten kids are escorted to the front doors, so that they can go through the front doors with their peers and their friends, and just make sure we can keep track of the kindergarten students. Some of the daycare providers do that themselves, and sometimes when there's a teacher there or myself, it's usually myself, we'll walk the kindergarten kids from the daycare. One of the daycares has a bus, for example, and they use our bus zone. The other ones use vans, and the vans usually use the Hug and Go. The before and after school care program, yeah, we mentioned it earlier. It's kids come first. After school, you can access it, or before school, but it's not during school hours. And the $20 is once a one-time fee only. We only do $20 just once. So it's just one-time fee of $20 at the beginning of the year. So do students get assigned AM or PM schedule? Or do we have to sign up for it ourselves? We assign AM and PM to you, and that's how it happens. If for some reason you really wanted AM and you got PM, we can put you on a wait list, and sometimes we can move things back and forth. But we do the best we can to meet everybody's needs. Usually most people are happy with what we give them. We work with you, but we can't always accommodate everybody, but we do the best we can. Kids will have only one snack break in the afternoon session. Yes, we generally have one snack in the morning and for the morning children, one snack in the afternoon. They'll be talking more about snacks as we progress in the presentation. Are there school tours for kindergarten students and their parents? Good question. We are planning to do that on August 31st if COVID restrictions remain the way they are now. We'll be planning to have September 1st is the first day, officially the first day of school. We are planning to have kind of an open house or an opportunity for families and students to come in on the afternoon of August 31st with restriction, as long as there's no new COVID restrictions. So that's our plan. Is there uniforms? No uniforms. Just make sure you're wearing clothes that the children are comfortable in. And also, I would recommend that, kindergarten learning can be messy. And so we're sometimes painting, sometimes gluing, sometimes doing fun things that are a little bit messy. So I would recommend, play clothes that are, if they get a little bit of a stain on them, it's quite all right. Is there any lunch supervision fee for kindergarten students? There is no lunchroom fee for kindergarten students because they don't stay for lunch. It's a half-day program. The timings for the AM and PM classes on the alternate Fridays, the timing is the same. On Fridays, we call it it's an early dismissal Friday for the grades 1 to 4 students. So that and that day it goes from 8 till noon. So for kindergarten that day, it's the AM and PM kids on the Fridays will start at 8 o'clock. Severe allergies. Good question about severe allergies. Definitely you'll let the classroom teacher know. Also, when we ask you to fill out a survey, please include that as well. We would like to know about any severe allergies your child may have. And then I think go ahead.
Can I interrupt really quick about the severe allergies?
Yep,
if
please.
Your child requires an EpiPen, we ask that you drop the EpiPen off at the office and we will give you the forms that need to be completed. We do not keep any medications for any of the students in the classrooms. They always stay in the office. If you would like your child's medication to be with your child, they will need to wear a fanny pack and carry the EpiPen in their fanny pack. But we will ask any child that has an allergy to just have the forms, come to the office and complete the forms there for us.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Barb, for that. Also, we have a question about bus routes. If you're choosing to have your child go on to the bus or take the bus home at the end of the day, if you're an afternoon student, or come to school on the bus in the morning, where the route information is. Once you have to go and actually go to your MyCBE, and then through there you'll sign up for busing. When you sign up for busing, then the route is then shared with you once they determine the routes. Right now, they're asking that anybody who would like to use a school bus to be signing up now. You don't have to pay the busing fee right away, but you will have to definitely sign up. And from that, they can then determine where they'll put the bus stops. They use congregated stops so that if they try to have the stop within about I think it's, I have to remember this, but I think it's around about 1 kilometer to 800 meters from your house. Could be a little more. And then that's where your bus stop is. when you sign up for busing, they give you a time with about a 5-minute window of when you need to be at the stop, and then you would get on the bus. Or conversely, same thing if you take it at the end of the day. This year there was no busing fees, but that could change just depending on funding. So there may be a busing fee next year for kindergarten if you choose to use the bus. I think I've answered almost all of the questions, so I think we'll go on to looking into what classroom learning is. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a few more minutes for any questions. And also, as I mentioned earlier, if you have a question very specific to your own child, please feel free to give us a call at the school, at the office, and we would gladly speak with you about any specific concerns about your children that you would maybe not want to share in a public forum like this. And if you have any questions going forward after a presentation, please reach out to us as well. We would be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So now we're going into looking into the classroom learning, and I think we'll turn this over to Mrs. Steckley about the first day of school. And Mrs. Waltz.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Todd. So as Jeannie just mentioned, and Jeff, you can just go to the next slide there, please. Awesome. The first day of kindergarten is a very exciting time. As you can see, the excitement on this young face. And so we'll talk a little bit about what you can expect on the first day of school. You will be greeted by your child's teacher. And before the first day of school, you will receive an email saying, welcome to Taylor School, welcome to kindergarten with your teacher's details. We will be at the front of the school with bright vests on and a sign, and we will wait outside. We will greet you and your child, and then make our way into the classroom. So what will you need to bring? What does your child need on the first day of school? As mentioned before, it is a $20 fee just for the school year. Markers and crayons, paper and pencils are provided. But what you can send your child to school with is, Steph, if you would like to go to the next slide, a pair of shoes. And I know there are some couple questions around this. So we do a lot of running, we do a lot of movement. Kindergarten is an active place. So runners are fantastic. Anything that are slip-on or Velcro, we kindly ask that you do not send tie-up laces. The fine motor piece about doing up bows and laces is difficult for a young child. So slip-on or these Velcro shoes are fantastic. Please also send a backpack. As Jeannie mentioned before, something that you could fit a snack in, a large library book, and perhaps something that they made at school and during the day to take home. And I noticed that there's a question about the shoes need to be brought home each night. No, we do store them in the classroom, and they'll be kept there for the entirety of the year. Good question. As mentioned, we do have a short snack break. It's about 10 minutes long. So something that your child can eat during a 10-minute period. Something like a yogurt or an apple is great. Water is also fantastic. We are an allergy-aware school. And so what that means, your child is able to bring nuts and peanuts. We are mindful of those students with allergies, as mentioned before, but packing your child a snack that they can consume in about 10 minutes and re-energize them for the rest of the morning or afternoon. And sometimes accidents happen. We like to paint, get dirty outside sometimes, or get spilled with water. And so sending a top, a bottom, and a pair of underwear in a plastic bag to be kept inside your child's backpack. We don't have cubbies, but we do have coat hooks in the classroom. So to keep those clothes inside your child's backpack, just in case of emergency or little accidents that may happen throughout the day.
Thanks, Raylene. So the question a lot of parents have is, what will my child learn during their kindergarten year? And kindergarten is the same as any of the school grades in that we have a curriculum. So we follow the curriculum as set out by Alberta Education, and that's really what we're teaching to. You probably have heard in the news that there are going to be some changes next year to the curriculum. And so for kindergarten, we've looked at that quite carefully. There are a few minor changes. There are things that often we are already covering anyway, but we will be, of course, following any new guidelines that are set by Alberta Education. We're mandated to do that, and we would do that. If you can see, oh, thanks. I'll just go back to that. Oh, thanks, Jeff. If you can see, these will be the areas. So there'll be an area of early literacy, or you can think of that as English language arts, mathematics, or early numeracy. We'll have an area around social skills, and that's a very, very important area of development, as you can imagine. We'll have an area that we cover about social studies and well-being, and things that we would look at in that would be learning about ourselves, learning about our family, groups we belong to. Science, things that we would be learning in that would be about changes in the season, you know, animals and how they adapt to different habitat, etc. And also we will be looking at art. That would be an area of curriculum. Music, we do have a music specialist that teaches the kindergarten students, and so that's a very exciting thing that the students really love. And also physical education. So we do have a gym teacher, and the students go to phys ed class as well. So just kind of thinking about, well, how do we fit all this in? We've got about a 2 and a maybe 40, 45 minute time frame. We have snack, we have different things that are happening every day. How do we do that? So we do set aside time every single day for what we would call focused instruction. So this could entail, let's say it's at the very beginning of the year, it could be something about the alphabet and some activities about that. It could be an early math activity. It could be, for instance, sorting different attributes. It could be something about cutting. And we'll have opportunity, like for instance, today we've been cutting and making collages with torn paper or cut paper. So every day we'll have an opportunity to teach a specific learning as mandated by Alberta Education. And the students would also have the opportunity to engage in some type of work time to go along with that theme. So that's something very important. I'll just briefly mention, this is a very important part of our day, is the early literacy. It's something that we do touch on every single day. Reading and writing the alphabet is something that we'll be focusing on all year. And I encourage all parents, many parents say, what could I be doing at home? How can I prepare my child? Definitely this is something that you could do starting right now, is to focus on the alphabet, not just singing it, but playing games with it, maybe an alphabet bingo, maybe hiding letters around the home, finding the first letter in their name, your child's name, or maybe siblings' names, etc. And also learning to write the alphabet. On the left, you can see something that's called shared writing. This was something that would have been done mid-year, and you can see that there's blank spaces where children and the teacher would, what we call, share the pen. So students have wrote some of the words and teacher have wrote some of the words, and we've gone back and forth to create a piece of writing. Just so you know, at this point in the year, we have many children that are reading. They're reading simple books. So the progression of where a child will come in to where they end at the end of the year, there's great growth. We see children's writing being able to actually print and spell, children being able to read simple sentences, and something that we would call sight words. So those are high frequency or common words. So that will happen throughout the year. So the stronger the start the child has, or your child has, going into school, really helps to facilitate them picking up that information. So that's definitely something that you could support them with at this point. And so for early numeracy, what we call, or math, the subjects that we would cover is sorting. So that's putting objects together with a common attribute. So that could be color, shape, it could actually be anything. So sorting is a very important task. And then we would move on to patterning. So as you can see, there's some children that had patterned with the bears. And then understanding numbers. That's a huge part of a foundation of learning in kindergarten. Really understanding that this is number 6, and this would be what 6 would look like in terms of objects. So not just memorizing what that number looks like, but what it actually means. And this is, I would say, for the students, their favorite time of day. It's called what we would call learning center time. It's a time that students have free choice, and they have choice of what they would like to participate in. And some examples that they would be able to do are things in drama center. There would always be something that they could do with art, make-believe, building, construction. There could be Play-Doh, sand, that kind of thing, puzzles. So children would have the opportunity to choose what they would like to do. And it really gives them a great opportunity for sharing, for negotiating with others, for problem solving, you know, as they move on to figure out how to use these materials, to use their imagination, which is so important for students, obviously for sharing, and importantly for cleaning and taking care of their environment. That's a really important thing for students to learn to do, is to learn that I'm responsible for my part in the classroom, and I can really be positive in the classroom. And that's something that, if you are wondering how else can you help your child, that's an excellent way, is to help them become more responsible for their own belongings, for their own things, and just showing greater independence, perhaps with like putting their dishes in the dishwasher, picking up their toys, hanging up their coats. All of those kinds of things are going to help them become a more successful student. So assessment, that's a big question for parents. You might wonder, well, how will I know how my child's doing at school? And that's a really great question. So just so you know, teachers, they do ongoing assessment throughout the year. It's not just at certain times of the year. They're always looking how a child's doing in terms of picking up new information, how are they working with others, all of those kinds of things. They're making those ongoing, what we call formative assessment. That means we're just looking at how students are doing. And so what we would do for you in terms of really understanding how your child's doing is you will receive 2 written report cards, and that will be through PowerSchool, and we will be letting you know that they're available to look at. One will be in January. That will be the first report card. And then there will be another one at the end of the school year in June. There will also be something called, and if you can see it on the left-hand side, there looks like something with green and red and yellow. That's called the early years evaluation. That's something that's done through all Calgary Board of Education schools in kindergarten, and in fact in many kindergartens throughout Canada and other countries as well. It's a screening tool that looks at typical skills that we would see for children of this age, and kind of would be a checklist of how your child is doing within that area. So for instance, there would be an area of speech and language, and some of the things would be, you know, is your child able to speak and communicate in 5-word sentences? Something else that would be under fine motor would be, you know, is a child able to cut out a simple shape? So we would be doing that assessment or screening tool with your child in October, and we will share those results in November. We'll be doing that in person, orally, or I'm not sure how it will be with COVID, or would be online. And so that would be in November. So you'd receive a written copy, and also we would speak to you. Then you would know, you know what, this, let's say your child had an area of need within that screening tool. We can let you know, for instance, maybe your child would need to have a little bit more practice in fine motor or in the area of communication. Then that gives you that opportunity to practice with your child and gives teachers another tool to help with planning and with supporting your child in that area. So there will be an oral or parent-teacher conference that will happen in September, and that would be very brief, just you letting us know a little bit about your child. There will be that one in November that will be talking about the EYE, or early years evaluation, the results from that. And there would also be an opportunity to meet with us in April. But just to let you know, let's say if something comes up, teachers are always more than willing to speak with you. Just, you'll get information about an email. So the best way is to email your parent's teacher or your child's teacher, and then set up a meeting and to speak with them.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Excellent.
And thank you so much, Jeannie and Raylene, there for giving us kind of the overview and of kindergarten. But some of you might be wondering, how can I get my child ready for September? And I will pass that over to Jane Stupak, and she'll go over a few things you can do to help your children get ready for kindergarten.
Thank you, Todd. The first few weeks of kindergarten can be filled with many mixed emotions for our students and families. To help the transition into kindergarten be as smooth as possible, please take a look over the kindergarten getting ready information sheet that you received with your placement email. It has lots of wonderful ideas. Calgary Reads also offers a great resource called The First 2000 Days and includes lots of helpful ideas and some really great checklists. You can find it on the Calgary Reads website. We will also send you a digital copy of The First 2000 Days before the end of June. And thank you. Raylene also put the link in the chat for The First 2000 Days. Here are a few ideas to help your child feel more confident, comfortable, excited, and successful during their first few weeks of kindergarten. Visit the Calgary Public Library and look for books about going to school. Talk with your child about how they're feeling. Help your child to become familiar with the Ken Taylor School by visiting our playground, or help your child to learn to recognize and print their name. This will help them feel more successful when looking for their coat hooks, shoes, backpacks, and jackets. Have your child practice opening their snack containers, and also have them practice putting on and taking off their jacket and shoes. These important skills will help make our transition times smoother for everyone. Encourage your child to participate in numeracy and literacy games, reading together, making letters and numbers out of Play-Doh, alphabet puzzles, playing Letter I Spy, or even counting objects around your house are some fun and simple ideas that you can do together. Enjoy some stories together, talk about the picture, and have your child make connections. Create opportunities for your child to follow directions, play cooperatively with others, clean up after themselves, and independently use the washroom.
Thank you, Jane. And just one thing I would like to add, if possible, please have, especially with things like mitts and toques and boots, have your child's first name in them. It really helps us sometimes locate items. Kindergarten, we're pretty self-contained, but you'd be amazed at how many pairs of gloves, mitts, toques, boots, coats that end up in our lost and found with no name, and children just don't come by to claim it, and eventually we have to donate it to a charity. So it's always helpful that make sure their names are in things so we can always get it back to the rightful owners. We'll now talk about teaching assignments. So you're going to be designated AM or PM. And then the last 3 days of August before school starts, your classroom teacher will contact you to do a quick introduction, and then you'll know who your classroom teacher is and you'll know who to look for on that first day of school. Parent questionnaire. In the link that we sent out, there was a parent questionnaire. We asked that if you have the time to please fill out the parent questionnaire. It helps us when we're planning our class compositions and needs and wants and things like that. The questionnaire gives us some insights on how we can best program for children, and gives us a sense of when we build our class lists to make sure our classrooms are what we call heterogeneous groupings. What that means is we like to spread the kids out as in terms of learning needs and by gender and things like that, just so that each class has a heterogeneous composition. We find that actually with that kind of composition, research says that the learning is richer and more dynamic for students. So please fill out the questionnaire and have it completed by May 27th. That pretty much concludes our orientation for this evening. I would like to take this time to thank Raylene, Jane, Jeannie, Barb, Leanne, Jeff for helping out this evening. It's great. If you have any last questions before we sign off, we'll just maybe wait for a moment in the chat. And if not, or if you suddenly, this evening, after the presentation's over, you also think of a question, please don't be shy. Please contact us at the office. We'd be glad to assist in any way we can. We give you a lot of information tonight, and you might not think of something for a couple more days. Please reach out. We'd be more than happy to help out. So I'll just stop for a second. Okay. Oh, here we go. I'm going to read a few of them here. So where and whom should we contact for transportation related questions if we have any in the future? Usually it's good maybe to start with us. However, you can also contact our transportation department directly. They can often answer your questions too. But yeah, start with us and we can usually help you from there. Is the curriculum for the upcoming month shared with the parents? So generally we have a weekly communication that we send out to parents. Sometimes it's in Google Classroom, sometimes it's in the form of a blog. Sometimes we do emails, depending on the grade and the teacher. And we send out information what we've covered that week and kind of upcoming events and things like that, so you're aware of what's going on in the classroom. Regarding allergens, will we be provided with a list of items to avoid packing in snacks? Good question. As we said earlier, we're an allergy-aware school. We're aware of children have severe allergies. We ask that if all possible, try to pack, like peanuts is the big one, right? Like we all know that there's always peanuts are tough on that kind of thing. So if you can avoid packing those, that's great. We also make sure that the children who do have allergies, we make sure we're always washing our hands. We're making sure we're also doing safe practices in the classroom to avoid contact of materials as well. So we kind of attack it at both ends. And we work in that way. Where do we find information regarding after school care for PM students? Good question. It's Kids Come First. If you contact the office, we can pass along their phone number to you. And then we can, go from there. They operate separately from us. They're a private operator that rents our space after school. So we work with them as a partner, but they have they take care of their own business and we take care of our own business. Can we get a recorded orientation? Yes, we're actually, we've recorded this orientation so that it will be posted on our website. So if you've missed anything, you can definitely give us a day or so to upload it, maybe Monday, come back to our website and you'll be able to click on and rewatch the orientation if you'd like. And the company is Ranchlands Kids Come First. That's who you can contact directly if you want to look them up. Thanks, Barb. What can parents do in classrooms during volunteering? Great question. First, make sure you have your police clearance. And then once that's squared away, teachers will invite volunteers in. And really, volunteering is really up to the teacher's discretion on what they would like volunteers to do. Some teachers will have parents working with kids at center time. Sometimes there's things that might need to be prepared for upcoming lessons, materials that might need to be prepared, cut out, that sort of thing. There's a lot of things we can do with volunteers. We definitely need volunteers. We definitely need volunteers for when we go on field trips. We have a ratio that if we're going off campus on a bus for kindergarten, for example, there's a ratio of 1 to 5 where they would need that. You definitely want to make sure you're there for that, volunteering. Do we suggest parents have their police clearance organized before September? Yes. I believe Barb said that you could come into the office and get that process started. It's very important. We have to do it through the Calgary Board of Education. Some people will say, well, in my organization, I work for a company and we had to do a police clearance. Unfortunately, we don't accept those. We only accept the ones that are done through when we submit them from the Calgary Board of Education to the police. We have the police do a very deep dive with the ones that come from our school. So it's not always the same level of a clearance that you might get in a private, from a private company or somewhere else. What else we got here? Did I miss any questions, Barb or team? Did I miss anything?
Todd, I just want to add that the police clearances are at no charge to families or volunteers. The police clearance, the CB pays the entire cost of the police clearance.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. I failed to mention that. Thanks. And Jeannie also just put in there, parent jobs can include art and craft presentation, sharpening pencils, all kinds of stuff. There's the thing of the beauty of kindergarten. There's never a time when there isn't anything to do. I was a kindergarten teacher for 1 year. I became a principal. It was an easier job. But seriously, kindergarten's a wonderful year. It's a very unique experience. And there's always things to do in kindergarten, always. So volunteers, we'll never have a shortage of jobs for you. I can guarantee that. And you don't meet too many people that work harder than a kindergarten teacher. Let's take a look here, see if anything else that I might have missed. Jeannie, you have anything?
Yeah, there was just a question about would there be an opportunity for students to store winter clothing? And so I just wrote back that unfortunately, no, we don't have space. You have to understand that in a classroom, there would be students in the morning and in the afternoon, so they would be sharing that same coat hook. And so we don't have the space for children to leave winter clothing. And so that would just go back and forth with the child.
Thank you, Jeannie. So I'm not, crying children and anxiety. Great question. So what we do is, one of the reasons we do an early, like a staggered entry and only have half in, is we do recognize that children may have some separation anxiety. We work with you, we try to do a gentle release, and we work with you that way. We do something in the first couple of days. We call it the Boohoo Tea. And I'll talk about the Boohoo Tea, and then I'll let Raylene go a bit more into that. The Boohoo Tea, so when you drop your children off for the first time in kindergarten, we actually have coffee. It's not tea, it's coffee. We have coffee stations set up outside. So as your children go in, you can say a quick goodbye, grab a coffee, and then the kids go in. That's some of the things we do. Raylene, you want to expand on that?
I know it can be a big jump for these little ones to come into a new space with a new adult. I would suggest perhaps keeping a little picture of your family in the backpack or even a little stuffy. But we definitely work with you, as Todd mentioned, kind of a soft transition. As your child develops over the next few months, and as you kind of take away from what Jane shared with us, with getting your child ready for kindergarten, we'll address those concerns in the fall. But having a little picture of your family in the backpack has worked well with students, and we work on strategies as they come about in September.
Thank you, Raylene. How many days a week for kindergarten? It's every day, Monday to Friday. So in our program, Monday to Thursday, and then every alternating Friday. So kindergarten is every day pretty much, except alternating Fridays. Okay, just watching the questions here. Is there recess for kindergarten? Recess, actually, it's being 2 hours and 45 minutes. There isn't necessarily a scheduled recess. However, throughout the day, our kindergarten teachers, when it's nice out, they'll take the kids outside and use the equipment, just like the rest of the students. We do have breaks and centers and things like that, but a scheduled recess, not necessarily. Actually, in our building, grades 1 to 4, we have what we call natural breaks for recess. We do go out for recess. We don't have a formal time. Teachers will often read the class. Okay, it's time to go out for 5-10 minute recess. They go out, then they come back. So we don't have a formal recess. We do it informally when the kids need the break. And we find that way kids really enjoy that as well. And the teachers get out there with the students during recess time. And it's a good informal way for kids and teachers to get to know each other. But there, as also Jeannie's mentioned, there's many movement breaks, snack time, and we do spend time outdoors when weather is weather appropriate. If it's too cold, we wouldn't go outside. But that being said, generally in our school, if it's -20 or warmer with no wind chill, we'll go outside out and play in the snow. On those days, you might want to make sure that your children are dressed for winter weather. We'll talk more about that when we get to like October, hopefully not earlier than that with the snow, October, November. But we do live in a winter climate, and especially in grades 1 to 4, we send the kids out for recess and out to play at lunch, as long as it's warmer than -20 without a wind chill. So just be aware that you always want to make kids dressed for the weather. Is there someone to go and check on children if they've had a long bathroom break? Oh, yeah. Teachers, when they manage their classrooms, they always have a system of knowing who's out of the bathroom and who's left and who's in. If we find a child's been a little bit longer, we do have an educational assistant that will go out and check for the children. Sometimes if it's a male student, Jeff and I will be sent to go check on children. We're always being aware of where they are. And the bathrooms are actually quite close to the kindergarten room. We can actually hear quite a bit from the room itself. So we know if a child might be just taking a little long at the sink or maybe found a friend. We know that too. So we do track them when they leave the classroom. Each teacher has their own management techniques for doing that. And also, as Jeannie's mentioned, we sometimes will take the whole group out and do a massive bathroom break and a wash hand break as well too. Okay. Well, I would really like to thank all of you for taking the time, asking really good questions. And I just want to say thank you again for choosing Ken Taylor School. We're really excited about starting the new year with you guys. And thank you. And I hope you have a great evening. And, as you can tell, we're hoping for the Flames. If you cheer for the team in the North, we'll still let you in the door. But you have a wonderful evening, and everybody takes care. All the best.